Stories or lies? Hello and welcome back to shopping at Aldi's with my mother. So it means it's time for spiritual musings or ramblings while at Aldi's. So I'm part of this group called The Heart of Business, which is a wonderful spiritually based program that help you with growing your business. I guess you could call it a coaching program. And I did an exercise there today that was the beginning of what they call the one compelling sentence exercise. To write one compelling sentence that describes your business. Before you get to the writing, though, they have you do this thing called the release of neediness. And you get to this place where you're asking your heart, what does it want? And it took me a few minutes to really get into it, but doing it kind of wrecked me. I found a lot of things that my heart wants in this world about being seen and mattering and whatnot, without going into too much detail. What I found kind of surprised me, that I have these stories I tell myself. We all have stories to tell ourselves about who we are, right? And this exercise kind of has me wondering how many of these stories I tell myself are stories that are more aspirational, more than actual, right? Stories that I want to be like, or hope to be like, or found these cool ideas and say, that's who I am. But my day-to-day behavior doesn't really stack up to that. I'm also doing some somatic work, and in my somatic session the next day, I think it was the next day, I got a challenge to write myself a letter with being honest with myself about who I am and what's important to me and what stories I tell myself. So I've really been thinking about what are the stories I tell myself that aren't true, which ones are aspirational, and which ones are true, and then wondering about my motivations for why I do them. So what stories do you tell yourself? Which ones are real? Take a look. Which ones are hopes and aspirations? Which ones are just, kind of kidding yourself, for lack of a better term? I think it's good to delineate this and figure out what our stories are and what kind of stories we're telling ourselves too, because that's how we understand the world, through the stories we tell ourselves. We make up stories all the time, and some of them are accurate and some are not. Okay, I'm now just really rambling, so just love and blessings that you can find the stories that are true, find the stories you tell yourself that are not accurate, and work to make those changes so you can live a better and fuller life. All right, talk to you later. Bye.